GM, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wake and Jake. You guys know the deal. We're going to listen to Jake and Bake tell us what we should do with our time this week. As always, shows rated NFA, not financial advice, always make your own decisions and whatnot. We're just here to, bring up the big topics, chop it up. It's open mic, so if anybody wants to jump in, talk with us, we would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on any of these topics. So just reminder that is always the case. But yeah, excited to be back, man. It's been a big week. We got some stuff coming up this week, some TGEs, some gaming stuff. We've got meme coin mania, and then also ETF inflows are just going nuts. So a lot of stuff to talk about for the week, and who better to do that for us than Jake and Bake, the man himself. GM, sir, how are you doing?
MGM, yeah. We got me and we got a lot of awesome people in the community as well here. Hopefully, again, this is a open forum show, so feel free to chime in whenever. We want to hear everyone's takes on this stuff, but yeah, man, I'm doing well. It's a nice little weekend, bit of relaxing, seeing some friends. Weather's getting nicer and nicer here. Just woke up and just like sat out in the sun on my porch for a little bit. It felt amazing, honestly.
There you go,
Um,
man.
but yeah, we got a lot to get through today. We're gonna definitely touch on the pirate stuff. That'll be a big highlight because that TG is coming in a few days here, a couple days here. And I know a ton of people in MVHQ have been grinding that for a long, long time now. Um, But yeah, we can get into macro stuff first. Yeah, we had a wobbly week last week. They were really edging us, man. They're really making us think that we're close to the breakout, and then we saw a rough little dip on Friday. I believe it was like Friday morning or so. Um, and now we're back above 70K right before the show started here. So um yeah, I mean, it's hard. I've been talking about this. I mean, it's rough because this whole fucking time we've been in the show, basically, we've just been ranging back and forth, and it's like I really want to be able to give like some actionable advice. But right now, it's really just like we're just kind of ranging back and forth, and once the market picks a direction, then I think we're gonna rip from there, or if it goes down, then dip from there. But right now, I'm kind of looking at some levels to be above like 72K if we close the week on that, which weekends on Sunday evening. If we can close above 72, that would be a really bullish level. But then from there, if we can get in like on the daily or above back above like 74K, then we're looking real good. But until then, it's just been so choppy and so hard to predict. What's going on in this market, and there's been so much consolidation, and it can last for it's already lasted for months, but it can last for months after this. So I think right now the focus is like trying to find altcoins that we're into, projects that we think are really gonna do well longer term. Good farms during this time before it gets to up only mode, and trading becomes a lot more profitable across the board. I think it's kind of like a farming and picking your spots type of environment right now, and we'll certainly get into that on the show. But yeah, that's a little is primer on what we're looking like for the macro.
Appreciate it. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say, man, you're being too hard on yourself as far as looking for actionable advice. I think that when we're chopped for so long, like we have been, just telling people to hold steady, I think that qualifies, man. I think that's it's hard to do sometimes. So I think, yeah, just the reminder. I think I think it qualifies as actionable advice, just to keep your head cool. But yeah, 72K target sounds beautiful, man. We'll keep our eyes peeled for the end of the week.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I think it has been nice though. We have seen a lot of inflows into the ETFs again, which has been a nice pickup. Uh, where I think I talked about in past shows where like I wasn't really looking to reference the ETFs a ton until there was some type of new trend, and there kind of has been a good size uptick in terms of volume um, on the ETF side. Um, but we haven't really seen a similar uptake in price. I mean, it pumped a bit, but a lot of it is like they're running these delta neutral trades. These funds are where you buy the ETF, then they short the futures. So it's kind of it's a bit um, I don't know. I don't know if artificial is the right word, but it's not something that would um, pump price as much as if they just bought and they weren't shorting at the same time. So I just wanted to mention that in case people are looking at these big ETF volumes and wondering why we weren't ripping a bunch. I believe that's kind of the thesis of why at the moment. I don't know for a fact, and I'm also not super educated in that realm of things, in that realm of trading. So I just want to throw that out there too. I think it is good though in general, just to have that kind of volume, that kind of attention going into the ETFs. I think it's only helpful for crypto. Hopefully, spark something bigger.
Yeah, appreciate the context there, though. The headlines that I were getting didn't give the full picture. It was just insane VTF volume. So, yeah, appreciate the other side of that there. It's good to know.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose we probably should talk about before we get into it, while we're on a bit of macro type stuff. Talk about the Roaring Kitty situation in GameStop. We've been covering it for a few weeks. Uh,
Holy
Or
shit,
like
man.
it's like over a month ago, and then we stopped covering because he kind of left, and then he came back, and we had the whole live stream on Friday, which I'm sure a lot of you caught or at least heard about. Um, where he kind of just like didn't really. It was pretty underwhelming. He didn't really say or give like a great reason. He just kind of just like, let's trust the devs, trust the team, and that's why I'm buying the stock. It wasn't really like a rah rah type thing. And we saw price react to that. It's down quite a bit today. GameStop currently 24.66, down about 12% today. Already on open, and I think I want to say he might be negative now on his options. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that whole story with Roy and Kitty is played out yet. They're talking about how he still can exercise them, and that would push price up as well. Um, and maybe he has some other stuff up his sleeve, but right now it looks pretty grim for the Roaring Kitty in Retail Saga and GameStop, which is unfortunate because I know a lot of retail hopped in, and if retail was able to get a big win, I think that certainly would carry over to the crypto market where people would want to be a little bit more risk on. But if all the retail is going to get wrecked from this, then that's not helpful for for crypto bags of retail coming in anytime soon. So that's kind of my take, but I would love to hear other people's take on GameStop. Do we think it's all over for GameStop stuff? Do we think there's some more planned? I'd love to hear community takes there.
I think he's
All
going
right.
to get manipulated to shit, and he's not going to win just because that's how it is in the corporate world.
Yeah, I'm confused. What is like the narrative? Like, is he so obviously he's going up against like big money bags, right? Like institution money. So like is he just hoping that retail will like rally behind him and pump GME? Like, are we his exit liquidity? Like what's the end goal? Is it like the people versus the corporations? And if so, like how does us making him a billionaire help anything? That's what I'm confused about.
So I can add some color here, and just to state my bias to preface all this, I YOLO GME about a month ago when Roaring Kitty came back. My entry was around like $23 for the shares, and then started buying calls once he posted his call position. So I'm currently down a bit, definitely biased there. But the whole story, THC, starts about 3 years ago, where he realizes that the stock is just short more shares that are available in the float, pretty much indicating that these hedge funds are naked shorting, which is where they're selling stock they don't own. He posts about this at community forums. They buy the stock, and there's this thing called DRSing, direct registering your shares, where you can pretty much register a share in your name so that a firm would not be able to borrow it and lend it out. So that's kind of the whole thesis, and he just really liked the stock and talked about that, and just became a figurehead of this movement of sticking it to the Wall Street hedge funds. He cost the hedge funds a ton of money during the squeeze. There's a lot of manipulation, like Jinzo said, that kind of brought the price down. But him becoming a billionaire would be GameStop doing well, so that's how it would help the common person. But he does own such an oversized share in the company that if he were to own 10% or more, he would be considered an insider and then would be likely a member of the board at one point. So I do think that could be part of the end game for him, is exercising those options, having enough sizes of shares that he would be an insider in the company, and then work with Ryan Cohen to potentially steer the ship around. But there's a lot of like nuance in that where he doesn't want to be accused of insider trading or doing things early. And then one additional piece of color just to add on top of everything, Jake, is that on Friday, before the market opened, Ryan Cohen, the CEO, issued the right, I guess, to issue 75 million more shares. So that really stifled the price. That was the same thing we saw a couple weeks ago. He did that for 45 million shares. Price went from 80 to about 23. Same thing happened on Friday, 60 after hours to 30 at open.
Yeah, super helpful color there. Thank you, Ross. And if he's issuing, 75 million shares, so they did the right to it. They haven't. That was just to give them ability, right? They didn't actually do that, or
Yeah, so that's where it's unclear. They will announce when the issuing has finished. So the first time they did it, it only took a few days, and they issued pretty soon after that they've fully distributed that stock. There's some speculation that they haven't yet, and they do have their earnings tomorrow. So they already pre-announced their earnings last week. In some senses, it was good. In some senses, it was bad. They definitely did worse earnings per share wise than expected. But there's just a lot of people on board who are really sort of touting that they're going to use this money to acquire a new company or completely pivot the business. So tomorrow, I definitely think is going to be a big catalyst for price moving forward. Is if there's anything in the report as to did they not actually issue those shares yet? If that's the case, then I'm sure GameStop will rip because it's sort of a fake out where, the price tanked 50% off the anticipation that they're diluting. But if they haven't diluted, then that's one thing. If they fully diluted and they already sold all those shares, maybe the market will digest that. But I think that's probably the next big milestone in this saga, is just what's really going on with that 75 million share issuance and how the market responds to that.
Yeah, the question is too: are they going to be able to do all that and announce something before his date for his expiration on the calls? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? That's a huge gamble he took, and if anything, even like ignoring the company, because honestly, who gives a shit about GME as a company? We were all in it for the movement, right? Like, we all forget about GME for 2 years, and then, oh look, something happened. Like, if you think about it, this is great for crypto because these people are all going to get driven to crypto. They're just seeing manipulation upon manipulation, and they're making us look like a joke. Like, anything that happens in crypto that's a scam or manipulation is basically like nothing compared to what we're seeing here with these companies. Like, they just, oh look, hype, let's sell a bunch of shares and make a bunch of money. Like, they're literally pulling like all these scams that we see in crypto, but like in public, and it's okay. So people that are buying tops right now and buying at 20, 30, $40, thinking, okay, let me ride this thing. Sure, it's up to them to make a better decision, but they're not expecting a company to issue shares for the most part. Where in crypto, you can't do that. Everything's on paper, right? Unless you're buying into a rug, which I get. But people are going to start waking up to crypto. They're going to start being pushed to crypto. Crypto is just more and more in the front lines, and they're starting to see if they have other options than just to trade these companies like GME. So I think that regardless of what happens with that company, I think it's great for us. People are just going to start coming towards us because they see that maybe coins are another option for them if they're looking to do something risky.
Dude, yeah, that's a powerful take. I love that, Jen. So, like the thing that's like making me scratch my head about the whole thing is like the GME aspect of it. Like, I don't get it. It sounds like he's trying to, yeah, like send a message, a movement, like Genzo said, but like he just chose the wrong vehicle, maybe. Like, I don't know. It seems like he's trying to help the people, but you have this company here, GameStop, just like, oh, well, we're just gonna print stocks. Like, I don't know. That seems fucked up. Seems like, yeah, like Genzo's saying, it's just another layer of manipulation. It feels like, nobody really gives a shit about GameStop, like, as a business. I would have never thought either that he would want to be on the board and like do shit with the company. Like, that seems crazy. It seems like the meme has just gone too far, and there's like no end game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just to go back to the context of where this started, right? The whole idea is it's not this guy Roaring Kitty manipulating the stock; it's the hedge funds in Wall Street. So this practice of naked selling or naked shorting has caused a ton of companies in the past to go bankrupt. And it's a pretty common practice where they'll just, again, they're selling shares that don't exist. They will sell more shares than, anyone can buy. And it should be an illegal practice, but it's not. And it causes a lot of companies to go bankrupt. So his whole thesis, Roaring Kitty, was just there is value in this business. It does not deserve to go bankrupt, and people centered around it. Now, where we are now is, I think, a little bit different because it's already past that stage of, okay, GameStop
Yeah.
paid off its debt, it's not going bankrupt. But now it's like, okay, they have $5 billion in cash once this offering is, issued. So there's really no reason that this company should be going bankrupt if they have $5 billion on cash. So I think that's his leg of the bet at this point. It's less about, hey, GameStop as a place that you go to buy and trade Legend of Zelda. It's now become, okay, they have $5 billion and a CEO who has a proven track record of, making billions, very successful in his field. What is he going to use that $5 billion to do? And I think that's the bet, is like, hey, this company is valued at this, but they have a really good CEO and management team and a shit ton of cash. He can turn that into a company that's way worth more than, the $10 billion it's valued at right now. So I think that's where he's making this big bet. It's not really the legacy business. It's his prediction that this future is going to change it. Why the calls? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it. Yeah.
exactly what I was going to touch on. Is like he has calls open for the 21st or for the end of the month, right? Or whatever, mid-month, whatever it is, 20 something. That makes no sense. He's talking about a 3 or 5 year plan for the tokens, but he's not buying them on spot. He's playing the, oh look, I have a calls option open and, let this thing go to the moon. But he's not saying that because he can't, obviously. But yeah, it's just very weird to me, all this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Go ahead.
it was a cool thesis when you're, sticking it to the man and there's like actual analysis behind, oh, these, shorts don't make sense, they're naked, whatever. Like you can, squeeze it up and the price will go up. But then now it's just like, oh, we're just betting on a long-term plan of a company that's like already failed before. And I don't know who Ryan Cohen is. Like, I guess he's got a good track record. I should look more into that. But it's like, yeah, they can't be doing nothing, right? Ryan Cohen's gotta, save the day, and we got a 3 to 5 year plan. It's like I don't know. We've seen that play out before. Like it's the same bet as like betting on Yuga. Like Yuga's got a lot of money. They've executed before. Like, you're just believing on them to create some whole new company that not only doesn't fail but like exceeds stupendously. It seems like you're kind of just taking a shot in the dark, and I don't know, retail is kind of getting wrecked on it. Like he can obviously do that because he's got millions of dollars, can make these bets, but if people are following off of what they think was what happened the first time, they're just going to get clowned.
I just find it interesting that in the beginning, his whole thesis is like the bets against the company are overweighted, that the value of the company doesn't correlate to the bets. But now he's got to bet wide that somehow GME's they're going to have to make 5 billion with that 5 billion bucks, or they're just going to blow it all. Is GME's business going to be making any money just because they have money? I kind of agree with what Jacob.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Thank you guys too for making me feel a little less crazy. And Ross, man, I appreciate the color and background and stuff. I'm familiar with the naked shorts and the short squeeze and all of that narrative and stuff. Like they just said, yeah, it's mostly just this arc. It's like the lean forward meme forward has just been weird, man. Like the Dark Knight shit. Like I don't know. It really is just feels like a pump and dump saga. Like this is the arc that's confusing me. It's like the narrative's been lost, and instead it's like it's almost the opposite. It's like it's not power to the people anymore. It's power to this guy. You know what I mean? Like he's like literally like posting receipts, like pump my bags. Like this shit's just I don't know. It feels distasteful and not really in the same vein as before, where it was like everyone's rallied around it. So from the jump, it's been kind of confusing to me. I mean, I want to see the dude win. I think it would be a great headline, but I just don't get the narrative this time around.
Yeah, I'm with it, bro. And I mean, again, like I'm completely biased because I obviously am YOLOing and want to see it succeed. But it was more so just I want to be in this part of history. It's however it plays out. It's just such a cool tale, and I think it's interesting. But to Roaring Kitty's credit, I think that this has always been his style. I was definitely super taken aback during the live stream, and my knee jerk reaction was just like, "This is so bad! Like, what the fuck?" But took some time over the weekend just to touch grass and get zen and like watch back the live stream. like, what do we really want him to do, right? He's just a guy who bought the stock. He can't come out and be like, hey, here's my whole plan. I'm going to do this. Like, I think a lot of people saying, if you look at the live stream again, his whole point is to prove he was not manipulating the market. Because coming into it, people were just like, we're going to halt your account. This guy's manipulating the market. Everyone's on, CNBC and Bloomberg talking about, is this guy manipulating the market? So he came into this live stream and just trolled essentially, where it's like, hey, I'm live streaming. This was all built up. There's 600,000 people in here. I'm saying I like the stock. I still have all my position, and the price is tanking in front of your eyes. And like the cool part is he's just laughing and smiling the whole time, which to me is not the reaction you'd have if you're losing $300 million in paper gains in real time. So I think there's something else going on. Again, I'm biased. I want to believe in it. Feed me the hopium, feed me the copium. But like, we got 2 weeks left in options. A lot can happen. So I definitely think all takes are fair, and like, we're gonna see one way or another. He's either gonna be right or wrong, but it's fun to watch. Like, can't deny that.
I absolutely cannot, man. Yeah, totally well said. If the thesis is being part of history, then yeah, you're absolutely on the money. It's definitely the most interesting thing that's happened. At least this year, it's definitely something's going to happen one way or the other. So I'm with you for wanting to be a part of it. So totally makes sense there. Anybody else want to jump in on some GME? Anybody get some kitty gains, super stonk, anything like that?
I guess the last thing I'll say is just like, I don't know, maybe he's got some gigabrain behind the scenes, whatever's going on is going on. Sure, anything's possible, right? But just like, if your thesis is, I don't know what they're doing, but they have to be doing something, like, I'm just never gonna take a bet on that personally, just because that, like, there's way more surefire bets or like things where I'm like, oh, like, you actually have a plan, you actually are executing this, like, I believe in the plan. But it's like, he literally said he doesn't know what they're doing. He knows they haven't done anything publicly, and he's just betting that they're not doing nothing, and that not only that they're not doing nothing, that they're doing something that's gonna make the company substantial amounts of money and change their entire business model, and raise the price just because it's a good company now. And it just like, there's just so many things that have to go right for that to work. And like, I get the whole, like, being a part of history, stick it to the man. But like we said, like, that already happened. Like, it's not that anymore. It's just a company trying to do something, a company should do, which is make money. And like, if Brian Cohen was on the live stream and was like, hey, this is what we're doing with the company, that would have been bullish if they like at least said something, or said something that wasn't stupid. But we didn't see any of that. So I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just not going to take a shot in the dark.
Well said, dude. Yeah, that's a lot to take in about it. But I feel like we've covered both angles, though. The full color history context where we're at now, and nobody really knows what's going to happen next.
Guess we'll wait for tomorrow. See what happens.
Yes, sir. What else we got going on tomorrow? Anything going on tomorrow, Jake? Or this week? I've got something going on tomorrow.
Yeah, you do. You want to touch on what you're talking about?
Couple things, actually. First, I can get these out of the way. You have until tomorrow to complete the PlayFi mission on the MVHQ app. There are 3 missions that are going to end before our next episode of Wake and Jake. So just final reminder here, we got PlayFi ends tomorrow. We got Dyson Finance ends in 2 days. And then we have Lingo, which ends in 3 days. Which the airdrop opportunity looks pretty sweet. So yeah, knock those out. 3 of them for the week. A couple more active, but you have more time on those. One thing that I'm going to be doing tomorrow, most likely, is playing the Beacon. I wanted to give them a quick shout out, man. It's a longtime conviction play of mine. It's a game on Arbitrum, and they are launching a campaign. It should start today, but it's going to run until about the end of the month, which is going to have some gameplay missions, some social quests, and stuff like that. But as you go, you're basically earning rank towards a mint that's coming up called the Rite of Passage, which is going to essentially be like a NFT token, like access into their whole gaming ecosystem. So the Beacon and future games. And it's also going to give you an allocation to their token airdrop. So ultimately, you want to complete these missions and stuff over the course of the month to get whitelisted. But as you go, you're also opening chests, which contain medallions, which are an airdrop allocation, and then also Arbitrum tokens, just straight up Arbitrum tokens in the chests because they got a pretty fat grant from the Arbitrum Foundation. So it should be cool, man. It's a game that I've had high conviction in. Hopefully they roll it out and do it right. But the game itself is really fun. But these sort of social quests and mechanics that we're really familiar with, referrals and stuff, etc., just to earn a future token airdrop could be a pretty good opportunity. I foresee them kind of being the face of like Magic, if when they try to have their resurgence come back. They're launching a chain in the future, and I think this will be the flagship game for that chain. So token airdrop could be lucrative, and if the missions are easy and low lift, definitely knock those out. But I'll probably get a field report out or something, and then a guide just once we get some more information and once it's live. But wanted to give the fam an early shout out on just something that I've been watching for the past year. But yeah, should be exciting. Oh, Jake dropped the link. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Is it I know you've been talking about this for a while. How much ARB did they get?
I don't know. I'm looking at I have the grant proposal pulled up, which is a fucking cook, dude. They went in on the technicals and just like all the mechanics and like it's insane. But anyway, I don't see the actual volume, but I do think they had a note saying they're giving out for the first phase. I think it was 160k or yeah, 160,000 Arbitrum, 150k ARB tokens for phase 1. So there will be multiple phases.
Okay.
And phase 1 is this month.
This is by Treasure DAO, the game.
They have a partnership with them. So I believe Treasure is going to be launching their own like gaming chain, and this will be sort of the face of it. They pushed back. They were going to launch like their full game like experience with like mobile and multiplayer and stuff around June or July, but instead they pushed back so that they could partner with Treasure and kind of push, I guess, their new chain. Like I'm assuming this game will be the launch of the new chain that Treasure's coming out with. That's a little speculation, just kind of putting the pieces together from their announcements and like the delays and stuff. But they have teased the big partnership with Treasure, and yeah, I can see them putting a lot of their focus and stuff on this game. Some of the other Treasure games are kind of meh. This one's heat. The gameplay's really good.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask, is it fun? I guess how much time? For those who are looking to like actually farm this, like a big aspect is like how much time it takes to do it.
Mm-hmm. Totally, yeah. So TBD there. I can because I don't know what these new missions will be. If they're social ones, really fucking easy. If they're in game, I'm assuming it will be. It could vary, but I'm assuming it'll be what they did for the bulk of like their previous beta, which were dungeon runs. So you basically spawn into a dungeon, you have to make it to the end, kill the enemies. It is very skill based. It's not a turn based or strategy. It's an action roguelite. So you're rolling around dodging, and it's kind of like I'm trying to think like the Space Invader style games where like projectiles coming everywhere and you got to like weave in between them and attack and stuff. So definitely a skill cap, and the time that you're going to have to put into it is going to depend on if you're ass at those type of games or not. So if you're just really bad and like don't have good reaction time or hand-eye coordination, then maybe just stick to the social ones, the retweets and stuff. But if it's clearing the dungeons, yeah, it could take you anywhere from a quick run if you're really skilled, probably like 3 to 4 minutes. But if you're dying a bunch and running it back, you could be in there for half an hour banging your head against the wall. But it is fun, man. It's not easy, but it's very rewarding. Get your adrenaline pumping. You feel good after you get a kill. Like, I don't know. It's like a game should be. It's wild.
Perfect. Okay. They sold me. I might have to get into it.
Yeah. So it's essentially before the demo, it was just it ran for a few months, but it was just these dungeons, right? So you spawn in and you make it to the end, and at the end there's a chest. Chest will have like 3 items, and all of those are NFTs that are minted right into your wallet. And then you can sell those or do whatever. Rare items, legendary items. There were mythic items that were only in the loot pool for like a limited time. So they kind of get it, you know what I mean? As far as like the loot and the gear, it's like the items that you get are just what you get as reward for the dungeons. They had an issue where it was people were running too many dungeons. They had like 40k mints with their Genesis mint. So people were running the shit out of those dungeons, and they very quickly came up with like a disenchantment, like crafting sync, where you could combine 10 items to like get a mythic, and they had like a whole new loot pool of mythics and stuff. So just from that one early beta, it seemed like they had their head about them and kind of understand the economy and like the NFT scope and stuff like that. The future is supposed to have like PvP and like co-op dungeons and shit like that. So think Cambria if you were like actually running around and like had to time your attacks and like dodge stuff, you know. I think they could build out a really dope like Web3 MMO world. I'm a fan of the art style too, but I'm pretty biased there. Fucks pixel art.
Sick. Okay. One last question. Is it when is like the expected time for them to like wrap up, I guess, this like farming season or whatever? When can you
Yeah,
expect to like reap the
totally.
rewards?
Yeah, so their mint is going to be in early July, and again, this whole sort of thing is to get whitelisted for that rite of passage mint, and that'll be in July. So no matter what, this will be done by July. They did put 2 different dates. They have like a Notion with a bunch of information. They put both the 21st and the 28th, so they might extend it a week. But essentially, it should start today and run till the 21st at the earliest, which is 2 weeks, or the 28th, which is 3 weeks.
All right. I have a new grind in my hands. Anyone else playing Beacon at all or checked it out?
Probably not, man. It's been pretty low key. I think there's a few people that are holders. Like I know Zoro's been riding with me. I think Shaggy might be a fan as well. But it's kind of just silent support, right? The game hasn't been out. We've just kind of been trusted in their vision and stuff. I just like how they handled themselves, man. I like the team. Man, honestly, the way they launched the game, it was just you could play. You could just hop in and play for free. And then if you wanted to, you could mint a founding character, and it was like cheap, man. It was like $15 mint, something like that. And they minted 40K of them, you know, raised $1 million by letting people actually play the game first. You know what I mean? Like you jump in, you play the game, you're like, oh yeah, I like this, and then you mint it. I love that, man. That's if Web3 took that approach to launching games, I think we'd all be in a lot better place. You know, you get a taste of it first, you realize that you like it, and then you support them. So yeah, anyway, I think they're doing it right. I'm getting very far into shill territory at this point, but yeah, anyway, something I fucks with, and I'll be going hard on there.
It's all good. That's what we're here for, is to drop the alpha. Hopefully, this is not sponsored. I guess it is sponsored by
Sponsored by my bags. Yes, absolutely. Brought to you by like a 1-year hold. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I think you sold me. Sounds fun, as long as it doesn't take up too much time. We can transition to another game that is brought to by a lot of our bags. That's Pirate Nation. The hot topic for this week. Excited to dive in here now. I've been talking about it a ton. I've been playing since Mint. THC, do you have any pirates you've been playing at all? Or should I share?
And yes, yeah. I'm rolling with the free pirate. Yeah, I'm like level 17. Didn't go too hard. Broke my streak a few times, but overall enjoy it, man. Love the direction of the gauntlet, man, and the pivot that they made gameplay wise. But I know we're worried about the TG. That's what we want to talk about. But yeah, man, I've been getting my pirate in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, quick overview for those who haven't seen. Pirate Nation TGE is coming on Wednesday. Oh wait, what's the 13th? On Thursday of this week, the 13th. I just dropped a thread on it in voice hangout chat if you wanted to get more info or read along as I go through this a bit. But just a quick touch on important dates in economic or tokenomics of it. The snapshot was already taken, so don't go buying stuff right now thinking that it'll help towards TGE. It was already taken. I think it was last night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the season, as well as season 0. So they're going to be paying out both season 0 and season 1 with their pirate token. And if you just go through the tokenomics real quick, 47% of the supply is going to the community, and 15% of the total token supply is going to the community at TGE. It is claimable, and that's only going towards like the game assets. So it's not like they're not vampire attacking anyone else. They're not like giving it to like random PFP collections or anything like that. It's only going towards players. in the ecosystem, which there was quite a lot. I know a lot of people multi-accounted, obviously. There's a bunch in MVHQ that did. But I think it was over 100K individual accounts that's going to be getting access to this TGE. And 15% of the total supply at TGE is a pretty good amount. That's a pretty fat number. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of talk around like the low float, high FTV tokens, which has been a very popular type of token release over the past couple of years now, especially within the last year or so, where teams basically just like give like a very small percentage of the total supply available at unlock, so it kind of pumps up, um, their FTV. Sorry, I'm not going to get like crazy into specifics here. But basically, what that does is kind of it almost like artificially inflates the price a bit, where uh, over the long term, it's just going to get dumped because there's so much more circulating supply of tokens that need to come onto the market that are vesting through, like the team and investors, and it just gets dumped constantly with new supply. So it's hard for the token price to appreciate over the long term. Um, Whereas this was a good refresher. I think this is on the higher side that I've seen lately in terms of percentage of the supply unlocked at TGE for a token. And that's really helpful for the longer term where you're not getting as much new supply coming in onto the market. You're getting a bigger percentage of the supply of the total supply as a player right away too. So it can really help in terms of price appreciation even over the long term. And that's not even considering these other utility factors that we'll talk about as well. Um, but so that's interesting. Team investors have a 12-month cliff. That's pretty standard. And then a total of 26% of the token is unlocked at TGE. So um, I really like the tokenomics so far. I think a couple things on the utility I think is also a really big aspect of it is they're giving us utility right away in a few different forms. Some pretty bullish forms too, and they're kind of going the blur route as well. There's a lot of similarities between this launch, I'd say, and like the blur blast stuff where they're doing it in seasons. And then the first season, it seems like they're going to give a pretty fat amount, where I think it's going to kind of take a lot of people by surprise. Kind of similar to how the first Blur one did, where there's going to be a lot of screenshots of people with some pretty fat airdrop amounts from this. And then the next season will I'm sure increase in terms of farming as they're going to give more and more of this pirate token away in the upcoming seasons. And then also the similarities is that there is going to be staking for their entire ecosystem token, which is called they haven't said what it's called, but it's called Pop Points or Proof of Play Points, which is the studio behind Pirate Nation, as well as behind the chain that it runs on. And you'll be able to stake your token for those points and you'll also be able to use the token to buy like in-game cosmetics. You'll be able to use it to buy gems, which gems are kind of like the speed boosts to like resource gathering, stuff like that. Very similar to if you ever played a mobile game. If you ever play like Clash of Clans or something, you can buy, basically pay to play to increase like how well your I don't know game does. It depends on what the game is, but it basically like speeds up stuff or gives you unlocks faster than you normally would if you played for free. So
Pay to win mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah, pay to win mechanics. Yeah. So it offers all those things, which is pretty bullish, I'd say. Having a few different utilities and having them all like be, I think, desirable utilities as well from the player place, I think is going to be a good thing for the price, as well as the fat amount of allocation. Like I'm pretty psyched up, especially I'm certainly biased. I've been a big investor since the beginning with Pirate Nation, but I think it's gonna go off really well. At least that's my expectation. Because there's a lot of reason to hold. I would say, and a lot of reason to buy more, and that's always a good thing that you want when you're getting an airdrop down. But yeah, I'll stop there. I have more to talk about a little bit on this, but I'll stop there because I know there's a lot of people into the pirate stuff and want to chop it up.
For sure, yeah. I'm gonna squeeze in here real quick before any of the community pirates. Just add a couple things. Like first, like yeah, I agree. It's a very generous amount of the pirate token. I think the real play here is going to be the POP points or whatever the proof of play token is going to be. Scottco shared a screenshot here. This is just like the amount of transactions per day or transactions per second, just average volume. I believe this one might even be outdated. I think Apex, which is the proof of play, their first chain, I think it's flipped Ethereum, but it's just going crazy, man. Like it's got so much volume and stuff on it. What I didn't realize until I was kind of chopping it up in the pirate thread last night is that Apex is just their first chain, and they intend to launch many chains, as many chains as they need to. The Apex is just the first, and the alpha is like alphabet sort of lettering. So next would be a B named chain, but they'll just expand to as many chains as they need as they, I guess, sort of onboard the entire world and have all of these transactions going. So a proof of play overall ecosystem token is going to be pretty insane, I think. So yeah, staking the pirate in order to be the first leg or first way to access that POP points anyway. I think that's definitely a play. I think it's a lot of incentive for people to buy in. Like you're saying, the pirate tokens are only going to people who played. So if you didn't and you're just now hearing about proof of play, or you are in the future, then you're gonna have to buy it. So yeah, I think it's a really really good setup they have here, kind of mirroring the Blur Blast staking Ponzi. Love it, man. But then also just the team. Like I don't know, I've had 3 AMAs with this team so far, and every time it's just been phenomenal. I mean, they've been really transparent. Like they had issues in the past, called them out like I do everyone. And they took it on the chin and were very honest. And they've since corrected pretty much all of the issues and concerns that we had then. About 6 months ago was our last one. So I'm just really excited for them, man. I hope they do well. And I know that a lot of MVHQ has been bullish on. I think that was your very first ever. Used to have a channel or like a thread that was Jake and Bake's picks or his favorite conviction plays. I think that was the first one on there, man. So a lot of people riding the wave with you on the open seas here, and then hopefully it cooks for everybody. But love to hear from some community pirates, man. I know we got a thriving community here. Anybody have thoughts or concerns or excitement they want to share for the TGE?
I want to hear from Captain Scottco, bro.
I know everybody's eyes just went to Scottco to see if he'd unmute or not. All good if not. I mean, yeah, there's tons of conversation going on in the thread, and we are going to have a spaces with them tomorrow as well that I'm going to be hosting. So we've been compiling some questions and just sort of chopping it up and theorizing over season 2 and the POP points and just what's next for the founder pirates themselves. So yeah, should be an exciting one tomorrow if you guys have time or you're free to tune in to that spaces. But if not, just get your questions in now in the Pirate Nation thread, and we'll make sure to get those asked and answered.
What time is the spaces?
Oh shit. Hang on. I think we got it in event announcements. It is going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Yeah, we'll try to get some alpha. We'll try and ask some questions that they haven't answered yet.
I know Saku Monsters has a Twitter Spaces here in a few minutes too. I think it's at 1 or 1:30. That one might be interesting too. I think they're rolling out their next phase soon. Or I know they have the Android thing coming out, and they just hinted another egg drop. I guess yellow eggs that must be coming soon because people have nothing to do right now. Most of them hatched, so these are things that we need to look out for too.
Yeah, good shout. I didn't know that. Oh, I just see a wild yellow eggs. Okay. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. Yeah, so what do you guys think in terms of? I'm curious what people's game plans are. I know we don't have like the full details yet, but I guess maybe initial thoughts before we get them in terms of are we full selling this token, realizing that liquidity? Are we full staking, doing a little half and half? What are you guys' initial thoughts on how to play this at TGE?
Man, they've got the hook lodged deep in my cheek right now. I don't know how to have the only exposure I have is the free pirate and the gameplay that I did. So I'm only getting like 300K booty. So I'm feeling underexposed. So I will probably be staking all of that and then potentially picking up just like a small bag just to add to it. We'll see what the chart's looking like and stuff. But yeah, I'm feeling underexposed, but I can't just go buy a whole pirate. So probably just buy a little pirate token and lock it up for some pop points. Probably my play.
And is adding. Ooh,
This man's
bullish.
got.
Any other one? I want to know what the sentiment is.
So yeah, I'm sitting on
It feels
300K.
like-
Scotco posts his screenshot, 300 million booty point. Yeah, like I'm a small little fish, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Scott's portfolio makes me fucking drool. That thing, like, that's conviction. You know, we talk about conviction a lot, but that's fucking conviction. Like, I think there was 3 of us talking about pirates back then. It was me, Jake, and Scott, and maybe a couple other people. And you know, I sold a bunch of them along the way because I started losing faith in NFTs, as I should. But yeah, Scott kept buying, man, and it just fucking worked out for him. So good for him. He deserves this win. I hope it's a big one.
I'm assuming Scott can't talk right now. I think he's usually gets like locked up in a meeting or something.
Oh yeah, he can't talk, or else he'd be talking your ears off about this for sure.
Bro is loading the cannons right now. What are y'all talking about? Y'all taking your eyes off the ball. He's unrolling the mast.
I think in terms of what I'm gonna do, I think it's hard to know. I believe they said that they're gonna release a light paper prior to TGE over this next couple days. Maybe it comes out sometime today, and we'll have a little more information on exactly how utility of this stuff works, and I'll make a more firm decision then. But I mean, right now I'm going to sell probably I would think probably like less than half, maybe around half or less than half of what I get at TGE, depends on how much it is. And then probably stake and use the rest of it for the game, because I'm still and probably attempt to get some of these founder pirates on a dip. It's already dipping a little bit since they took the snapshot. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I think it was like 0.85 floor when I looked last.
Yeah, yesterday 0.85, and a couple days before it actually hit 1.05 and was there for a while. Like even this week or last week, I mean. And now
Yeah,
we're down to 0.75.
yeah. Yeah, we've dipped from then after look at it, ran up to like 1.2, almost 1.25 right before snapshot, it looks like. 0.9, so we've recovered a bit. Honestly, we have not dipped as much as I expected. I think that kind of shows already how bullish people are on the ecosystem. They want to keep the Ponzi going, if you will. I personally am like super bullish. Continue to be on this team. Have been for like 2 years now. I mean, the CEO is the co-founder of Farmville, which was had like 100 million users at one point, and so it kind of just shows, and a bunch of the teams from really big game studios like Riot, and they just have experience, growing something to the masses, and it feels like they're doing everything the right way of both a Web 2 game, like mobile game, implementing gems, but making it pretty easy, making it fun at the same time, while also kind of incorporating the crypto aspect of fully on chain. And I think they're doing the right thing with how they're releasing these tokenomics, as well as what they've done with their NFTs too. So, and rewarding early users. Yeah, man, I just want to stick with the teams, and if I believe that the bull market hasn't stopped yet, that we still have a ways to go, then I think the primary projects that show that they can execute over a long period of time, and show that they can adapt and innovate and bring on demand. I think they'll only continue to do so throughout the bull market. So and appreciate in price. So I'm looking to add more largely here and reinvest my profits. I'm definitely kicking myself for selling off some pirates beforehand before this, because I had not gotten as big as airdrop as I could have. But that's kind of how I'm looking at things right now. Yeah. Any other stuff in the pirates, guys? I know there's a lot of people looking forward to this.
All good. We can save the curious energy for tomorrow. That'll work.
Quick shout on Fantasy Top. Don't forget to lock in your decks. 4 hours left. You have a lot of decisions to make if you do have cards to put in.
Yeah, great shout. I was wondering about this. Does anyone know how much gold they have left? Because I haven't received like any of my gold from Fantasy Top, so I'm not sure how much they've actually earmarked to send out. I'm not sure how much they have left until like the 20th, because I believe it seems like it's like quite a lot, like millions.
Yeah, they have quite a bit. I don't know the exact number. Someone must, but this next tournament is 822,000 gold, and it's a 4-day tournament. Or wait, a couple days, whatever it is. And I mean, they're going to be doing other tournaments till then, so I think they have a couple million to give out, 2-3 million probably. Someone must have the exact number in that list.
Yeah, right now it's showing on mine that they have 2.6 million like left to give out. But it's also showing that I didn't receive any of my gold from previous stuff. So I don't know if that's the correct number, if it needs to be more than that, or if it needs to be less than that. And they'll also get a distribution as well. Because I think there's one more blast distribution to happen before. I would assume that over the next couple of days is when that comes in. So yeah, I mean that's a fat amount. They'll probably be. I'd probably guess around like 3 million that they have to give out over the next what? Is it the 20th? That's the last day. It's the next 10 days.
I think it's the
Is that accurate?
26th.
Oh, the 26th.
So yeah,
The
the
next like
last
2 weeks.
day. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the next like 2 weeks then. There's a fat amount. So I think if you want to try and play it short term, I wouldn't anticipate prices to go down at least over the next week, like too much from here, just because there's gonna be so much more incentivizing with this fat amount of gold in fantasy top. So in my opinion, that's a good short term play. I don't know about after TGE if things crash a good amount when there's not that giant gold incentive. I know they've been holding back ETH in order for that time, but I don't know, how far that's really going to take them. Um, but I think that's another interesting topic in terms of like what's like short to midterm, the outlook of fantasy top stuff, because I know it popped off a ton and then it dwindled a bit and then we recently saw a resurgence where prices bounce back quite a bit. Yeah, anyone in fantasy top streets have any opinion here?
Just real quick. So it's the last day for Blast Gold. I pulled it up. It's June 25th at 8 a.m. Eastern. All gold must be distributed and all the wallets must be connected or whatever. So it's the 25th.
Thanks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. Like, I mean, I think it's still a really good gold farm right now. I think it's probably one of the better ones, like IKB. Um, but well, what's going to happen after is a big mystery, right? Because they're not making as much ETH anymore. Nobody's buying really packs. I don't see their packs selling as hard as before, and ETH is not a good enough incentive to just get people to play tournaments if they're giving barely any ETH away anyway because they need it to run the company, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna promise some new token, or are they gonna have like I'm very curious to see what they're gonna be able to promise that's gonna keep people enticed, and I'm curious to see how the prices are just gonna tank when we get closer to the 20th or 25th or whatever that week. Um, I think people are gonna start scaling out because they already collected the majority of the gold they hoped to collect. But again, I'm sure some people must are gonna buy that dip because they're gonna come out with some sort of incentive for a new blast season, or maybe they'll come out with a new incentive for actual just fantasy top. There's a lot of things that can happen because we know how good Pac-Man is at keeping us going and and rolling one Ponzi into the next. So there's a lot of people just speculating that there might be another season of Blast, even though it's not like gold that they're offering. They might be doing something else. So I think people are going to also bank on that, where some of these ecosystems might tank a lot early, right before the last day of gold, but then maybe they'll have like a resurgence once the next steps are announced.
Yeah, I think they'll almost definitely have like another season of Blast. I think the big factor is like how is that going to look like in terms of how they distribute the Blast, like to DApps and stuff. Is it going to be similar to the Blast Gold, or are they going to switch it up now that's a token? Are they going to switch up like criteria of how they deliver it? I'd say like it probably will be relatively similar, but who knows? This stuff could get switched now that it's a token, and bets that we thought were going to work out might change. So, but I'm in mostly agreement. I think this the blast stuff is gonna go on, continue to go on after TGE.
Yeah, I'm just curious what it's going to do to gold and what gold's utility is going to be in all this. It's hard to determine, but I'm sure he has a very solid plan with very good advisors. Like he thinks through these things, and so far he hasn't really taken a misstep when it comes to the rewards and Ponzinomics. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Awesome.
Anything else? Fantasy top? Sorry, I don't know who I just cut off there.
No, you're good. It was just me.
Oh, okay. I was going to give a quick shout out to Fibonacci. I dropped some TA here in the chat, but I did already have in my notes here for the field reports from this week. There were just two, and they were both from OX Fibonacci. One is some technical analysis. Title kind of implies it's going to be a weekly thing. Fingers crossed. Not trying to put them in a box, but we definitely will take your TA anytime you want to provide it, brother. And then also another one, how to constantly trade an edge. So just, really insightful stuff. I mean, the man lives in the charts, so anytime he's shared his brain with us, it's very much appreciated. Silva says, new blast multiplier. I don't know what that means, but it's provocative.
They probably opened up a new multiplier on blast.io that you can add
just
to it.
now. Nice.
They did a GameFi one, I believe is what he's talking about.
Oh,
wait,
Launchpad.
Launchpad.
That
He's
is not
He's
what
on
I'm
that new.
Oh, that's not updated for me. Do I need a refresh? Oh, that just happened. Okay. Need a refresh.
This man hit us with the time sensitive live pings.
Use the featured launchpad with any amount of capital and get a 2x multiplier. Blaster, Blaze, Zap, and Bazaar are the 4 that they have.
Nice.
Get those multipliers, man. I have one other thing. I really don't have much else for the show. We can probably wrap it up, but I have one other quick shout out I wanted to do. Might be a free money shout out. Because I just found this for the weekend. But I'm linking a non-time sensitive post. I didn't realize that Say ecosystem does continues to do airdrops for their token. And you might have qualified without realizing it if you did anything with Say over the past few months. I minted some Saiyans quite a while ago. I don't know, it was like 6 months ago or so, maybe more. And I just found out I got like a 3K allocation of Say, which is like $1,500. And so I'd certainly check your wallets there. Easus did a great write up a few days ago and not time sensitive about how you can check your wallets in different wallets and stuff to make sure you can get that allocation. But I would make sure to do that because it might be free money that you didn't know about.
Amazing.
Hopefully it's airdrop season.
You are not eligible.
I'm gonna harvest my crops.
Get the harvesting, baby. 'Tis the season. All right, well, cool. I feel solid too, man. I'm good. We covered everything. Is there anything anybody wants to bring up before we kind of wrap the show here? Of course, we'll hang out like we usually do, but just any final topics anybody wants to get off their chest and anything to look out for? Be a great time. We'll just open up the mic for real quick.
Is Blast unlocking to redacted this month?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
It's June. I forgot what it was, like June 26th or 27th or something like that.
I had 28th in my head, but yeah, maybe 26th.
28th?
Sounds right.
It's one of those days. But they announced it. Oh, airdrop on the 26th. Yep. Yes, sir. So it is gonna be airdrop season the next couple weeks. Hopefully, be some fat amounts. Hopefully that leads to more activity in the market. Hopefully that means a lot more opportunities, and we cook, baby. Yeah.
There's one more thing. Sorry, Jake. We forgot to mention. I put it in the drop list, but there's the YOLO Games token dropping today. I could link the Twitter if you want. It's like on some sort of like
Yeah,
Dutch
good
auction
shout.
thing. You guys want to look at it? You could. I mean, I think it's still way too high. The FDV is 127 million still at right now with the price, but there's some buys coming in. You can also consider that they might get a fat airdrop for gold if you get this token. But it's something to monitor. It's still open until the 12th, and the price is steadily decreasing. But yeah, you never know. This might do good. It's just I think it's a little too expensive right now.
Yeah, liquidity bootstrapping pool. Interesting. Looks like the TGE itself will be. Oh yeah, you said the 12th already. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. TG the 12th, 2 hours after this closes. they'll have a liquidity pool and everything set up. Like, I mean, I'm just putting it on your radar so you can consider it and maybe see if there's a play there for you. I don't know how to play this really. I think they're coming out way too high, and it's only 10% of the supply they're selling. Most of it will come in other ways later. So they're selling 888 million, I think, and their total tokens are 8 billion. So yeah, I mean, this market cap right now is only going to be about 12 million if it sells out at this price. But you got to consider that there's going to be a lot more tokens coming. So, just make your decisions for yourself and play it how you think.
Yes, sir. Excellent shout.
Hell
Great that
yeah.
it's coming right before Pirate drop. A little extra liquidity for people.
Well, sweet. I guess, unless anybody has anything else, we can go ahead and call it here for the week. And yeah, best of luck for everybody on their airdrop, TGEs, all that. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Any final words there, Jake?
No, I'll say here. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we cook on these airdrop seasons. Get your farms going. I don't think bull market's over. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. See everybody at Boss Dogs or Twitter Spaces tomorrow, Power Nation.
Yep.
Hope to see y'all there.